recording. I'm going to pause the recording. We do not record breakout rooms at all. And we won't record a workshop either. So you have to make sure you sign up because we don't record workshops, okay? This was recorded because a big conversation with everybody, and we want everybody to get that. So we're going to open the breakout rooms at this time, engage everybody in a conversation. Everybody will have the opportunity to talk to each other and create something. You can also share your screen if you please. The breakout rooms are open, everybody. 7 minutes on the clock. Let's go. Let's have a real talk with each other and fill up that Jamboard and how it's impacting my community. Go ahead. All right. Thank you so much. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. I was happy to go into certain rooms and see the real conversation happening. Real conversation happening. And thank you so much. And when you come to the workshop, it's going to be a 2-hour engagement. That's what we're going to have. This is the kind of engagement we're going to have. So let me share my screen and let me get into something right here. So I want to say thanks to everyone for speaking up. I was very pleased.
Perfect. Thank you so much for letting me know.
Somebody's mic is on. Somebody's mic is on. I was very pleased to see when I asked us to all engage in this conversation of listing and looking at the things and naming the things that our anti-Black racism and racism impacting your community, your department, your division, you were willing to speak up. Let me just make this very clear. There is a lot of times we have done this kind of conversations in different spaces and people are not willing to speak up. Even though they have an opportunity to do it without being quote unquote being seen, and they are not willing to speak up. Your silence is dangerous. And so I want to say hats off to everyone who engaged in the conversation. I was in one particular breakout room. Someone was sharing their story. I want to say thank you for sharing your story. And I hope persons who listen to you sharing your story, they honored that you shared your story. And what happened is that when we refuse to name, and to speak up what we have done and to deny the actions of racism and anti-Black racism within our organization, we are complicit. I want to say that to you. When you hear something in the staff room and the staff meeting and outside in different spaces that is racist and homophobic or whatever, transphobic, Islamophobic, anti-Semitism, and you say nothing, you're complicit. So I don't want to see us doing projects and committees and breakout rooms and policies and framework. But when it comes to the nitty-gritty of speaking up, calling out your peers, then you have refused to do the real work. You have refused to do the real work. Do not allow racialized people and Black people to be the one in your department to call out racism. You saw it. You was there when it happened. You be the one to speak up. And so I'm very pleased to see this kind of engagement, and everybody will get a copy of this. So don't worry, Ken, I'll download it and everybody get a copy of it, right? Because it's important for you to see the things and for you to look at how can we address these things that were listed right here today amongst us as we're listed. How do we look at some of the things? Just look at some of the things. Ask yourself, what will I do to ensure that a year from now, a month from now, 3 months, 5 months, 5 years from now, that some of these things are no longer listed in our department, in our division, because we have taken real actions. That's it. Willing to list, willing to speak up, willing to call out. That's what we're talking about when we say actions. That's what we're talking about when we say actions. A lot of people have gotten carried away with documents. Every single organization has a very good equity statement. You see them, oh, they are beautiful. Some of them, they are so well crafted. I mean, we could just sell them. They are that worth like $1 million. But nothing, no action, no action. Just cute statements. We want to make sure you understand today, Ken, the statements, the documents, the framework, every single one of those things, they are important. But without the action, it's a performance. Without the action, we are putting on a show. Without the action. And what I want to show you here is other persons. So let me show you where other organizations have listed things. And they're like yours. The kind of thing that people are listening and listing. The kind of thing that people are saying, hey, this is how it impacts my department. This is how it impacts my community. These are some of the things that people are listing. So I want to thank you for that. Really, really thank you for sharing. I hope you got an opportunity to listen to each other in the groups. And when we come back in April, we'll do a lot more of that. So let's move on with our conversation. We're going to move on with our conversation. So what I'm going to do at this time, we want to realize that you understand, just to anchor the list that you just created. I want to kind of anchor the list that you just created for you to realize that anti-Black racism is not new, right? It's not new. Stephen Lewis report 1992, something you could Google, first name it's here. It's not new. It's well documented, right? So it is not new. Let us establish that. So what is anti-Black racism, right? We define it as racial prejudice, stereotyping, and discrimination, which is directed towards people of African descent and which is rooted in their unique history and experience of enslavement. This is characterized particularly and pervasive racial stereotypes and reflected in the current social, economic, and political marginalization of African Canadians, manifested in the lack of opportunities, lower socioeconomic status, higher unemployment, significant poverty rates, and overrepresentation in the criminal justice system. I was in a workshop the other day and somebody said to me, well, don't we all have the same opportunity? And I said, absolutely not. I didn't have to think about it because I'm not going to allow anyone to think that we all have the same opportunities. I reminded people that when slavery ended, that the slaves left the plantation with nothing except the shirt on their back or whatever they had. They left the plantation with the breadcrumbs, so to speak. And plantation owners were given insurance money for loss of property. People don't like when I say, but I'm going to say it because that's what I do. There are people today walking among us who are still benefiting from the proceeds of their great-great-great-great-great-grandparents who owned slaves. How do I know? I had an experience when I visited some persons I met in the Bahamas and they lived in South Carolina. And something happened and somebody pulled me aside and make it very clear to me somebody was white, because I saw certain dynamics and I kind of asked a certain question and the person was kind enough to pull me aside and just said, I just want you to know that many of us here, our great-great-great-great-grandparents owned slaves. Some of our houses you see we live in, that's slavery money. And then we have the audacity to ask, why is it that racialized and Black people in particular have in certain communities where there is poverty really because we all have the same opportunity? No, we do not. No, we do not. If there is systematic racism and marginalization and lack of opportunity, we do not. And so we want us to recognize that and to admit that and to acknowledge that so we can move on to the real authentic change that we so much talk about. So systematic racism, we talk about that, systematic racism. It occurs in an institution or a set of institutions. Working together creates or maintains, that's a word I like, maintains let me just address this for a minute. This definition: systematic racism occurs when an institution or a set of institutions working together creates or maintains racial inequity. This can be unintentional and doesn't necessarily mean that the people within our organization are racist. But I want to underline and I want to circle a word. I want to circle the word maintains. Because many of us, we came into a space, we come into an organization and we see certain things that we know are racist, and they are destroying and marginalizing a certain set of people. And what we do, instead of we disrupt and dismantle, we maintain. So I'm going to ask you a simple question. Are you disrupting? Are you dismantling? Or you are maintaining? I'm going to repeat the question again for dramatic effect. Are you disrupting, dismantling, or are you a part of the section that is maintaining? We want to keep it like this. You are not the right fit. We are maintaining. It has always been like that. We are maintaining. Those folks do not understand what we do over here. We are maintaining. We want to make sure we protect our community. We are maintaining. You asked me for a courageous conversation. That's why I'm here. If you didn't want me to have a courageous conversation, you could get somebody else. I am here to ask us, are we disrupting? Are we dismantling? Or are we maintaining? So let's move on. So what I'm going to show you in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to show you a quick 2-minute video. Some of you remember this, the Starbucks incident, and many of you remember that. And then I'm going to show you another 2-minute video after this, right here in Toronto. Sorry, right here in Ontario at a hockey game. Because when you show the Starbucks incident, I remember I was in a workshop once. I was showing the Starbucks incident. A white guy raises and interrupted my workshop, Ken. And he said to me, he chided me to be careful how I'm using American examples. Then, of course, I show him the Kenyan example. But that's a kind of lack of cultural humility that many of us lack. That you are in a workshop to learn how to become more equitable, to become more inclusive. I don't even use the word anti-racist, to become more empathetic, to listen to the people around you more. And instead of sitting in humility, you raise your hand, disrupt the workshop so you can correct the presenter, because that's what power, privilege, and white supremacy looks like. So as you listen to those videos and you watch, we're going to go back into a quick chat. And in that quick chat, we're going to ask some questions. What did you see? What happened? What did you hear? And I want you all to just scribble that down on a piece of paper. As you're watching the video, what did you see? What did you hear? How did you feel? Nothing need to write, nothing need to report to. I just want you to do that kind of engagement as you get into the groups and you talk to each other. So let's get into this right now. Let's do that right now. So I'm gonna bring up those 2 videos so we can have that kind of engagement at this time. All right, so let's do that right now. 2 videos. As you're watching the videos, you're looking at it, you're telling yourself, what am I seeing? What am I hearing? What am I feeling? Let's do that, okay? Let's do that.
Anger is spreading in Philadelphia and across the country over an incident at a Starbucks last Thursday. A manager calling police asking that 2 black men be removed from the store for trespassing. The men had asked to use the restroom, but were told it was for customers only. Then they sat at a table waiting for a friend to arrive, but didn't make a purchase. The scene caught on camera by other customers.
What did they get called for? Because there were 2 black guys sitting here meeting me? Yes. Well, what did they do? What did they do? Did someone tell me what they did?
They didn't do anything. I saw the entire thing.
They didn't. What did they do?
And the woman said it's for...
The 2 men arrested and handcuffed. They weren't charged and eventually were released. Joining me now is Melissa DePino, an eyewitness. Melissa, thank you so much for joining us. You were in that Starbucks. when these men were
I was in
arrested
the Starbucks.
and tweeted out
Yep.
this video. So tell us what you saw leading
Yes.
up to this video.
Well, you know, I really just noticed something was happening when I saw two police officers come into the Starbucks and go over and talk to the men, and then a couple more officers came in, and then a couple more, and I think there were 6 or 8 of them. And sometime during that time, their friend, who you can see in the video, showed up. That's who they were meeting. And we were all just wondering, you know, why are all these policemen here? Why are they trying to make these men leave? They were just sitting there like everyone else. And, you know, we all sort of standing up and, you know, sort of talking to the people behind the counter and to the police officers and asking what was happening. And then they put them in handcuffs and took them out.
And they were, when the police.
This is from Saturday at a semi-pro hockey game in Saint-Jérôme near Montreal. Fans yelling racist slurs at Jonathan DR.ABC, who is black, one even leaning over the side of the penalty box to taunt him. And it didn't stop there. Fans turned on DR.ABC's father and girlfriend, who were in the stands, insulting and threatening them as well. Our Alison Northcott now with the story behind the video and the outrage it sparked.
I had to put my jersey over my face because I had teardrops, you know?
Jonathan DR.ABC says he's faced racism before, but nothing like this.
They started yelling racist stuff at my parents and my sister and all that, and myself. Good old Negro and all that, the baboons, like a bunch of stuff that was said.
The insults, he says, came from a handful of spectators and were so bad he and his family left the arena before the game was over.
Well, my dad was told to go back home, that he had no business in his country and all the places, stuff like that. You know, people were like touching his hair, they were making fun of him. My sister was scared, my girlfriend was scared.
He says referees and security guards did nothing to protect them. DR.ABC's league, the Ligue Nord-Américaine de Hockey, is notorious for rough play and rowdy crowds. But DR.ABC's coach says even by that standard, this goes too far.
In 2019, it's something that, you know, we shouldn't see anymore, and it's, I think it's disgusting.
Je tiens à m'excuser à Jonathan DR.ABC.
The head of the league apologized to DR.ABC in this video, telling fans that racist, sexist, or homophobic comments are unacceptable.
All right, we're going to stop there. We're going to go into our breakout rooms. We're going to spend some time, about 6-7 minutes, and we're going to talk to each other. We're going to ask, share. Nobody need to volunteer anybody. You share what you saw, what you heard, what you felt. That's all we're going to do in our breakout rooms. We're going to talk about what we saw, what we heard, what we felt. All right, so we're going to do that at this time. And the rooms are open. 6 minutes on the clock, everybody.
This meeting is being recorded.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Just want to say thank you so much, everyone. I went to a couple rooms. We don't have enough time. That is why, of course, this is normally, Ken, as you can see, a 2-hour conversation, right? But we'll have some of those in April. And I want to say thanks to those of you who are sharing. I want to acknowledge something, that when we are in space like this and racialized folks are sharing their experience, for some people, we're at different space in our sharing. Some persons like myself are at a space where sharing certain things, it's just for your information because I've already dealt with it. For some persons, sharing brings back memories. It feels like a pressure. It's a weight. It feels heavy again, literally on your chest. And you're kind of re-traumatized by it. And so I want to honor those who are sharing, because in sharing your story, it's also empowering yourself, not others, yourself. And that is why I was intentional, and the department, I want to give credit to Miranda and the team and Ken, intentional about the session we're going to do in May. If you identify as Black, do not miss that session. It's a session for us, and it's about pouring in the oil and the wine. And for those who are curious, if you are not going to be there because you're not Black, what is happening? It's not a bitching session. We're not going to discuss, it's not going to bitching session. It's a session where we are going to empower racialized people how to wrap themselves in what we call hashtag Black Joy. People have seen me walk in my wholeness, and they wonder, how do you do it as a Black immigrant man who is effeminate and who is gay? How do you do that? And I tell them the story. It's not no get up one day and ta-da, I'm like this. I've come from space where I was afraid of my own shadow. It's the work I have done on myself and how I've taken care of myself and do the Black Joy work. I hope you realize many Black folks who got these jobs, Ken, in many organizations, especially in 2020, when everybody started doing equity work and people were appointing people equity. A lot of those people, Ken, who took those offers already gave them up. Why? Because they start to realize that carrying this work is heavy lifting. How do I remain this gorgeous and do this work and have this conversation? Is because I maintain self-care and wrap myself in hashtag Black Joy. When I show up, it's me resisting. When I show up in spaces as myself, it's joy. So we're going to get into that. So I want to thank everybody for participating. I saw the participation. I saw the work. I saw what people were doing. I listened to persons in certain rooms, and thank you for sharing. We're going to wrap this up because we only have a minute. I guess we only have a minute, right? But we're going to take maybe 2 minutes. So if you look in the box, I've pasted a survey in the box. It's not your regular survey to tell me how I did. We're not doing that today. You can do that at your department with Ken afterward to say, we like Dr. Campbell, bring him back, or we don't like him, that's fine. But we're not doing that. What we're doing is for us to take the moment to reflect. So I want all of us to complete it, all 60 of us to complete it. And I want us to think about it. What am I learning? What am I unlearning? What is one action that I want to take in my anti-racist walk? What question do I have? Be genuine. Oh, you'll be surprised. I've done this tons of times. And I've gone to places where people are so pretentious. Everything is so cute. And I said, scrap that. I go back to them and I said, scrap it. Because when you read it, it was so pretentious. We are going to write it because that's what they want us to say. And I said, let's start over. And I did this, no joke. And when I did it, the difference was obvious. So I want you to be very honest. And if you don't feel like doing it, don't do it. Don't be forced to do it. What am I learning? What am I unlearning? What action can I do? What intentional, deliberate? And I don't want you to say, oh, I want to read more. You've been reading. But if you definitely need to read more, write that as well. But I want you to give me tangible actions. And then questions you may have. And things you're struggling with, it is okay. If I give you my list of things that people listed they were struggling with, you would be surprised. People have listed with, am I the token in the department? White people can have come to me in amazing people I've worked with. One person said to me, Dr. Campbell, he said, what do I do when I am investing in the work, but my white friends are now saying, oh, you're being all equity personal. And I feel like I feel like something is wrong. And I said, do you want to be known as a person who did right or the person who was complicit? What do you want to be famous for amongst your friends? I tell you a quick story, Ken. Get invited to a cottage, having a conversation. First Nation discussion came up. Somebody said something ridiculous. I sat there and all I could think to myself is, now I'm going to have to drive back to Toronto for 3 hours by myself because there's no way I'm going to sit on your deck and sip good pina colada with 2 shots of vodka, by the way, Ken, and eat good chicken on the grill. But allow you to sit and do that foolishness in racism. Oh no. So now I'm going to have to give up the drink, leave the chicken, which I love. And they were giving me the leg and tie. I love the tie. Well seasoned, because somebody black seasoned it. Yes, somebody black from I know seasoning. So the person put all the seasoning in it, over seasoned, which I love. But now I am at risk, Ken, because now I'm going to have to speak up because it's my duty to speak up, Ken. Now the whole weekend is over. So I open my mouth and I call out in a nice way, because you don't have to turn over the boat to call out. You don't have to turn over the table to call out. You don't have to set the barbecue on fire to call out. Many of you, when you hear the word call out and disrupt, you feel you need to burn down the entire building. The truth is that happened in our ancestral time, and I was happy that many of our ancestors had the power to burn down an entire cane field. So that happened. But when I'm asking you to call out, Dev, I'm asking you, Jeff and Stephen, I'm asking you, Ken and Jillian and Shannon and Amanda, I'm asking you, Alex and Nadia and Ryan and Lilina and Ziba and Vivian, when I'm asking you to call out, I am saying in your way, in your brave way. You know what I did, Ken? I pulled that person aside and I said, no, we're not having this conversation. I said, no, we're not doing that. I said, what you just said is ridiculous. What you just said is, and it was like, oh, Andrew. And I said, no, what you just said, I want you to own that. What you just said is racist and ridiculous. And I get it. You grew up in an environment where this is what you heard and you think it's okay. Let us unpack that. And we had a good call in conversation, Nicola. Because I called him out. Still was sipping my drinks, 2 shots of vodka. I'm not wasting good vodka because it's not the cheap one. And I called him in at the same time, Miranda. And it's someone that I have strengthened our collegiality, somebody I've hung out with afterwards. So do not walk off of here and say, Dr. Campbell said to me, when I go to work and I hear racism, I must turn up the staff room, turn down the building, lick out the coffee machine, destroy the place, and just walk out. That cowboy style is not going to work if we want to grow as colleagues. That was not on my script, Ken, but my spirit said I need to go there. So I follow my spirit because I'm a spirit person. So I want you to understand it's your job, Miranda, Nicola, Laura, Kayla. It's your job to call out and then you call in. But I'm going to tell you something. The call out has to happen. You have to let the person know what they're doing ain't cute. And we are not going to allow that foolishness to happen. And then you call them in. So we're going to wrap up this. I think we have 2 extra. Ken, do we have 2 extra minutes? You're on my money time now, not your money time. Do we have 2 extra minutes, Ken?
Yes.
Okay, 2. Can we want to wrap it up quickly?
Take 2.
Take 2. Oh, I love that. Take 2. Ken, you're on my side. I love it. Ken says take 3. All right. So what we want to do, I want to leave you with just this slide, everybody. This slide, I want to leave you with 2 slides. So 3 minutes, 1 slide each. I want us to take the time out to get to know ourselves. After this is over, ask yourself, what are my biases? What are my prejudices? Am I working on that? Am I conscious of what's going on around me? Am I authentic? This department, MCCSS, SAPA, is doing the work. Ken talked about it, and Ken was not being pretentious. He was able to talk about the work. I spoke with Miranda from 2021, so I know it's not a newcome thing. We had a conversation long before when they consulted with me before. So I know the work is authentic and it's genuine. You have to ask yourself, are we doing this work? Are we doing this work? And then I might talk about yourself. And then the next one you do is be authentic about others. You need to know, who is Miranda? Who is this Black person? Who is this brown person? Who is this indigenous person? Get to know them beyond just that. And get to understand the ways in which patterns of discrimination is messing up our good work here in our department. Ask yourself those questions. And as you do that, you know, this whole idea, we're not even going to talk about this today because that's foolishness. You know, I don't see color. What I want you to do is to say, I see you. Today, I think it was Adeline. Twice, I was coincidentally, I went into a room and you were speaking. I see you. And the person in the room, 2 persons spoke after you, and I know that they saw you. They saw you. 1 person honored your voice. The next person said, thank you right afterwards. You need to see each other. See each other. And then when we come back, we're going to do this. We're going to talk about the implications for our practice. But I leave you today, I want to leave you with these words. Do not do not sit in any form of space where you understand for yourself, not me, for yourself, that you're being a denier, bystander, a pretender, box checker. You know, come out of that. As we say back in Jamaica, come out of that. Come out of that. Come out of that. And come in at this. Come in at this. Be an ally, be a true advocate, an activist, and an accomplice. Come in at this where your work is authentic, it's intentional, it's hard work. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure sharing with you. You look like the kind of people, you have engaged at the kind of people who are into this for real, authentic reason. And I felt that because I've been to places where I just feel like, you know what, let these people give me my check so I could go about my business because it's a bunch of foolishness they're doing right here. I have done that because when you listen to people, you just realize, okay, I can't do this foolishness that they're doing. I've seen the earth, the authentic, the energy in the room, the sharing. And we're going to have a more engaging time when I see you again. Ken, over to you to say thank you to you, please.
Yeah, Dr. Campbell, thank you. Or Dr. ABC, thank you. Miranda, everyone who shared. Miranda, this is your piece that you drove from the ground up. Thank you. ABR team, you've supported this. SAPA Talks team, you've supported this. And to everyone that participated and shared today, thank you. Just thank you. I'll just go back to what Dr. Campbell said, because this is an important piece. I've grabbed the link for the Survey Monkey, but spend 5 minutes now, reflect on it. Spend 5 minutes now. Jeff canceled the CFA meeting, so I know no one has any meetings, or at least half of us don't have any meetings. Spend 5 minutes, reflect, fill that out, because that'll start to form the next steps. And then hang in there. We'll be in touch. We're booking the rest of the stuff through the SAPA Talks team. So thank you to Dr. Campbell. Thank you to everyone. And we'll talk again in April.
Have a wonderful day, everybody. And before you go, Ken, just a quick one. Here comes a beautiful thing. Every single thing that was written in that survey is anonymous, and I will be sending the entire result to you to share with everybody. So everybody gets to see how the team is learning, unlearning, acting. So it's for all of us. It's not a secret. It's for all of us. Have a wonderful day, everybody. It was a pleasure. And I'll send the recording to you, Miranda and Ken as well. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Dr. Campbell. Thanks, everybody.